Good evening. I will call the September council meeting to order. All those alderpersons present here this evening have indicated so. Thank you for being here. Welcome to those in the audience here tonight and those watching at home. Next item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I invite anyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a silent prayer. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 4 on our agenda this evening is the reading of the minutes of the previous meeting. And those should be attached. I'd entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve. Place on file.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes. The next item on our agenda is the explanation of the visitor speaking procedure. Those in the audience wishing to address the body may do so tonight upon being recognized by a council member, in which you will have 5 minutes to make your point. And make sure you hit the push button on the microphone so that way you're picked up for those watching at home. Next item on our agenda is item number 6, a presentation by the Heart of Wisconsin on their chamber activities. I understand we've got a number of people from the chamber here this evening. I invited them to come and speak to us in the same way we had Visit Wisconsin Rapids recently here to speak to us about their activities and kind of a mid-year update for the council and for city staff. So with that said, we'll invite the presenter. Looks like Melissa is going to be addressing. Introduce yourself, Melissa, for the recording, and Phil's going to speak. I invite Phil to do the same. Thank you.
Absolutely. It's great to be here tonight. I am Melissa Reichert, president of the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce. Anytime we get the opportunity to present what we're doing to the City Council and to the citizens of Wisconsin Rapids, we're very excited to do so. With me tonight, I have my Director of Business Development, Phil Hartley, Krista Kuhn, my Director of Member Services and Events, Programs, as she tells me, and I have Sharon Zeman, our Director of Operations and Finance. The very first thing that we want to do this evening, we're not going to take a whole lot of your time, but we do want to show you a video that really captures what it is that we do at the Chamber of Commerce. For a number of years, we received questions, what exactly is the Heart of Wisconsin? What does it mean? And we created this video through Hearts Media, which is a production company that the Chamber of Commerce actually owns that has done videos for local nonprofits, for business, a variety of media pieces that go on websites or can be used as standalone pieces to promote individual business or organization interests. In this case, it's promoting our own interest, and that would be the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce.
Opening a business? Could you use a little help? Well, making the right connection can help. Yes, that's right. Getting plugged into the right expertise can empower you. And connecting to the community will help as well. What if there were one place you could go to for all the help and support you need? Yes, one. That's right, a place with spirit, a place with heart. Right here in Wisconsin, absolutely. You guessed it, the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce. What can they do for you? You have a business idea, right? You want to get off on the right foot. You might want to go to our entrepreneurial boot camp. You'll get the basics, develop entrepreneurial spirit, gain support services for
10 hot!
Maybe a little less like that and more like spring training for new businesses. Learning the fundamentals you need to succeed in your new venture. Excuse me? There's more. Well, sure. Now that your business is well established, what do you want to accomplish next? Perhaps we could start with something simpler. What about growing your business? Well, you've already sown the seeds of success. We can help you make it grow by helping you tap into local expertise. Attending training seminars in customer service and management skills, you'll make the right choices. Providing technical assistance and a marketplace website where you can bid on work available. The Heart will stay with you as you cultivate your dreams of retention or expansion. If your dreams are big, you'll need to feed your business. That's right, it takes money. Where will you get it? Well, the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce has set up revolving funds. The Heart is even looking into answers for your local healthcare concerns. Okay, I see your dreams are real big. You're not alone. Joining the Heart will give you opportunities to network with others like you. Monthly gatherings called Business After Hours. Lunch by the River. Legislative breakfast. The Summer Hummer Golf Outing. And working women's lunches. The Heart is about more than just networking, like promoting your success as well. Local media coverage. Set up a ribbon cutting ceremony. Be featured at the Mardi Gras Business Expo. And the Heart provides you with a voice in local, state, and even federal levels of government. Excuse me, there is more to tell you, but we seem to be running out of room. Tell you what, check it out. Stop by the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce. It's all here for you in Central Wisconsin at the Heart of Central Wisconsin.
Generally, the question that we get after people see that video is who did the illustration for the video, and that was done by Corey Staffen. He works for Renaissance Learning, not as an illustrator for their products, but actually in the maintenance department. And Corey always left little messages on the whiteboards for people when it was their birthday and those types of things. So his skills were noticed in that way, and we were able to bring him into Hearts Media. So he's one of the local contractors that you'll hear about in our presentation that we're able to help provide revenue to his family through his participation in Hearts Media. But tonight I just have a very brief overview of what the Heart of Wisconsin is and what we've been up to for the last year. I'm going to start in a place where Mayor Verwink has asked me to start. We've had some changes at the Chamber of Commerce over the past couple of years. Namely, we changed our name. We were the Heart of Wisconsin Business and Economic Alliance. It's a mouthful, and people didn't really understand what a business and economic alliance was supposed to do or was. So we did decide to change our name back to the Chamber of Commerce, so we're the Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce. Along with that name change, we knew there had to be a little bit more to it than just changing your name, to change what the focus of the organization is and how you're going to represent this community. So we also looked at our mission, vision, and core values. And we did that with the assistance of some local talent. We brought in Gus Mancuso and Dale Arndt, and they helped us work through and check the alignment of our programming to make sure that it all matched up with our new mission, which is to empower, network, and promote people, businesses, and resources. Some of the programs that we had previously done were ones that we decided didn't best serve the interest of our members or the community. We had used an industry cluster approach to business retention and expansion, and we decided it was time to take a more individualized approach to that. We had an HR roundtable. There are others within the community that had the capacity to lead the HR roundtable, so we were able to spin that out. We were involved and spread thin in community events, a lot of festivals and things that really didn't fit within our mission. So we pulled back and refocused on some of the events that were true to our mission. And then we needed to look at the quality of our events and not necessarily the quantity. So every event that we put our name on, we are cognizant that it needs to be a quality event. We need to have measurables and scorecard metrics that go along with each and every one of those events. And if we're not living up to what the expectations are, then it's time to look at possibly either moving that to another organization or pulling back participation in that. I've had a number of changes in board members that have been very positive. We've brought some skills to the table in the balanced scorecard. method of tracking outcomes, and we've just been using it for a couple of months now, but we're very excited about the promise that it's showing for us and the accountability that it really brings to the organization. So under the promote part of our mission are a number of things. This is a lot of the work that Krista Kuhn does. She does a lot in promotion. The ribbon cuttings that are attended by our ambassadors, that's one of the things that we do to promote our local businesses. Anyone that is a chamber member that opens up a new business will come and we'll bring our ambassadors in. So they'll get to meet about sometimes 30, sometimes 15 of the most well-connected kind of community out there people, the people that are going to spread the word about their business. The Heart of Wisconsin brings those people right into their business to meet them, find out what the business is all about and how it can be successful in this community. We also send out business blasts. These are emails promoting anything and everything a business might want out there to the general public and to our membership. We provide referrals to local business, and we also have a gift certificate program. The gift certificate program is very important because the money in that program is only available to be used at local businesses. So that keeps about $200,000 in this economy locally that people can't use to go and shop at online stores unless it happens to be a local store that has that online presence. It has to physically be used in the greater Wisconsin Rapids area. So it's a big benefit that the Heart of Wisconsin has. And then we also use our website and social media for promotion. The networking area is another very important area of focus. Our business after hours and Mardi Gras are great opportunities for a business to showcase themselves, but then have individuals attend and network with one another. And we're starting to move towards some structured networking within those business after hours. Back a couple months ago, we did a business after hours where we had an outside facilitator come in and facilitated some, it was actually in the form of a circle where you moved from person to person, and you had to meet people that you hadn't met in the past at business after hours. This made some people uncomfortable, but most people really enjoyed meeting the new people, and we found it to be a very effective way to grow participation in that business after hours if you know that you're going to make a quality connection. Other events that the Heart of Wisconsin handles, Rekindle the Spirit, that's our kickoff to holiday shopping season. We do a parade, have Santa come, and really encourage people, get that message out there to buy local. Blossom Fest is another great community event that we're proud to be a part of. This is something that we're a partner in. We have several events throughout the course of that weekend. The June Dairy Breakfast, we also have an arts and crafts festival. We have the parade, just a variety of things that really keep us hopping during that week in June. The Downtown Grand Affair was something that the Heart of Wisconsin felt really the community didn't need to lose. And when the committee that surrounded the Downtown Grand Affair was starting to feel a little bit tired and like they didn't have enough support to be able to pull it off on their own, we were happy to take the Downtown Grand Affair under our wing and continue to grow it. And it was a very successful event this year, and thanks to everyone who participated and made that so. And then we also have the Working Women's Lunch, and we do those about 3 times a year, bring in a speaker of interest for women, allow them the opportunity to network with one another, and businesses can sponsor that event and have their products and services featured. And then the area that I get really passionate about, and that's our Empower area. And this is all the things that we help business people with so that their business can be successful. One of the most important things that we do is business startup assistance. So if someone is tossing around the idea of opening up, they want to make cupcakes, and they saw it on TV, and they think that opening a cupcake shop would be a great idea. Well, if they come into the Heart of Wisconsin, we're going to help them and show them how to write a business plan. We're going to help them and show them how to look at the market. We're going to assist them with finding financing. We're going to hold their hand every step of the way and connect them to other resources that can help them be successful in their business. And sometimes going into business isn't necessarily the right thing to do. We also help people that realize that, okay, we already have 4 of these types of businesses in this town. Our market really can't bear another one. Is there another idea that you could consider? And sometimes that's just as valuable as if we would have helped somebody start up that really didn't have a market for their product. Health insurance has been a huge area of focus, as all of you know, probably in your own businesses and for yourselves. The Chamber of Commerce has taken a leadership role in bringing in resources that can help answer healthcare questions. We also have a health insurance program now available to our members that provides a 5% discount off of market rates through Security Health Plan. And we'll continue to offer programming and information in the area of health insurance. And if there's something that you're wondering about in health insurance that you can't find the answer to right now, if I don't know the answer, I likely know one of the experts that can help you find the answer to your question. Our local leads group has been a great success. They meet 2 times a month, and they pass business back and forth to one another and provide quality connections to actually make sales. And you'll see a little bit later in the presentation that they're up to over $300,000 since January 1st in sales that have gone back and forth between the members of that group. Buy local promotions, very important to us. The movie theater, over the course of the past year, one of our Hearts Media videos was featuring Buy Local. I'm sure many of you saw that video. It was voiced by Mark Skiba. And we had a lot of great feedback of people saying, yes, we saw the Buy Local message at the movie theater. Revolving loan funds, there's more detail a little bit later on, but we're able to provide loans to local businesses so that they can grow. Our leadership program has been in existence for, over 20 years now, over 300 and some graduates, continues to build the foundation of leadership within this community. People that go through that class go on to do great things within this community, and it's a very important offering of the Heart of Wisconsin. Heavy Metal Bus Tour, that's getting kids into these manufacturing facilities that we have in our community. Oftentimes, kids' parents might have been hurt by the downturn in the paper industry or have a negative view of what manufacturing means, but we're able to show them that manufacturing is no longer dirty, dark, and dangerous, that there's high-tech jobs, good jobs here in the central Wisconsin area, and have a little fun while we do it. Typically, we had Rebecca Clayfish attend the Heavy Metal Bus Tours with us, and Phil was pretty excited to get to see Rebecca again. They have a really good connection. And we got the news that Rebecca Clayfish was not going to be able to join us on the fall tour. Unfortunately, or actually fortunately, Governor Walker will be with us on our fall tour. So they're taking notice of the Heavy Metal Bus Tour. It wasn't an original idea. It was an idea that we refined. A good friend of mine from the Wausau Region Chamber of Commerce, now he's actually with UWSP. He started the program, but wanted to see it grow and willingly gave the idea to us, and we were able to run with it. So if anyone's interested in being involved in that Heavy Metal Bus Tour or having lunch with the governor that day, just let us know. Our entrepreneurial boot camp, that's more startup experience over the course of a weekend. And we're also very proud to be a partner in REGI, the Regional Economic Growth Initiative that everyone's, I'm sure, heard a lot about, and you'll hear a lot more about in the future. That's really taking a team effort to economic development and a focused effort on manufacturing within the community. So look for great things out of REGI in the future. And then Marketplace, that's an online tool for consumers or citizens, businesses to source products locally and get competitive bids and make selections of local companies to do the work for them. Business retention and expansion is a big part of what the Heart of Wisconsin does. The team, we have a great team. Adam Tagan is on the team, as well as Rick Murden from the Community Foundation and Phil Hartley and myself, and I know Mayor Verwinks attended some of those meetings, and mayors of other communities. And what the intent of those meetings is to go into the local business and find out exactly where their sales are at, where they're sourcing products from, what they're having challenges in, if finding out if their workforce is meeting the needs that they have, what their growth opportunities in the future are, and to gather all that information, benchmark that that information to find areas that we can help them with. In the past, one of the things that came up was cold storage availability. So we were able to pull together all the players and users of cold storage and figure out really what the situation was within the community. The same similar situation came up with the electrical grid, continues to come up with healthcare. We continue to bring together groups around the regulations affecting builders and developers. And then that marketplace that I talked about was a key result of the business retention and expansion visits. The outcomes have been great. Referrals for business partnerships. We've addressed training needs. The business perspective of our local business owners is documented and shared with key stakeholders, so we can advocate for businesses based on the information that they give us from those visits. And in front of you, you have a sheet that talks about the results that we've had. As I mentioned a little bit of before, $364,000 has stayed within this community with our local leads group. We understand how important it is to bring in outside and new dollars and to export products. But this $364,000 could have been spent in Stevens Point, or could have been spent in Wausau, or anywhere else that's a reasonable drive away. But instead, because of these people intentionally spending money with one another, that $364,000 has stayed in the greater Wisconsin Rapids area. Similar situation with Marketplace, kept $20,000 in revenue local. Hearts Media, which I spoke a little bit about, we've been able to pay our local talent $40,000. That's money that could have went to a company. Wausau has a number of media companies, and instead that's stayed here and provided income to families in Wisconsin Rapids. We've done over 1,000 business referrals this year, so those are either people coming in off the street looking for a particular business or a phone call looking for a business. Our leadership group has an alumni group. We have over 350 leaders that are strong, serve on boards, lead committees, and enhance businesses in the community. So it's a program that continues to have results. We've done 45 business retention and expansion visits this year, and as I said, the data is being collected, it's being tracked. We're fortunate. Synergy is invested in Executive Pulse, our tracking software, for another year, so we'll be able to generate some really good reports for you in the future, and hopefully at our next meeting I'll have those for you that provide a nice snapshot of what our local landscape looks like in terms of the economy. The one-on-one technical assistance, we've had 53 people come through our doors that we've either helped directly, been able to get to CAP Services or to SCORE or to the Small Business Development Center or one of our other partners to get that business up and running. The Heart of Wisconsin itself has $315,000 invested in 6 local companies through our revolving loan funds. We've had 135 business people participate in our educational training so far this year and have been able to provide direct business connections to key leaders, including the governor, Lieutenant Governor, Congressman Kind, Julie Lassa, Scott Krug, Amy Sue Verwink. The Department of Administration has been here, as well as the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. So we are connected to the people that make a difference in the state of Wisconsin and can help connect our businesses to them as well. The future of the organization, all of the programs that we are operating right now are running very well. They're tracking well on our scorecard system. That doesn't mean that that'll always be the case. The Heart of Wisconsin is set up to be very flexible and nimble and able to take advantage of opportunities as they arise. So just keeping that in the back of our minds, that these are the programs that are successful today. 6 months from now, our business community might need something different, but we're staffed and we're resourced in a way that we're able to respond to the needs of the community. One of the things that we're looking forward to in the future is moving our business retention and expansion visits to the next level. Our team members took advantage of some training at the Edward Lowe Foundation, so they are now trained in economic gardening, and they are looking forward to introducing a momentum program in 2014 that will allow them to work with 4 local companies to help them find new markets, find opportunities where there's gaps within their products or services or within their management team. We've brought in some key local partners, businesses, and organizations that are going to assist us with making those connections and recommendations for those businesses. Business licensing is something that the mayor and I have talked about. The city people that have worked for the city in the past have talked about. And really what we intend to do with that is explore the feasibility of being able to track actually all of the businesses that are operating within the community. One, so we can communicate with them. Two, really so we know who all is out there and can help them be more successful if we know that they exist. And we're just in the exploring the feasibility of such a program stage, but that's something that we're looking forward to in the future. And then, as I said, continuously improving the programs that we have and reevaluating the effectiveness of all of our programming. At this point, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Council members, any questions for Ms. Reichert? Alderperson Kellogg?
First of all, I have to commend you for all the things you do. It's fantastic. And I might have missed this because you gave so many things of positive things that you give back to the community. And I guess I'm concerned about retaining kids that graduate from high school and come back to the community. And I noticed, I think you mentioned a heavy bus tour, and the kids can visit different businesses and things like that. But what type of programs do we have in connection with the high school, possibly junior high school, to help them think about more of what our community is made up of, coming after graduating from college to come back? Because that's a real concern for me.
And that's a concern that I share as well. The Heart of Wisconsin itself, besides the heavy metal bus tour and encouraging entrepreneurial thinking, and within the schools too, we invite students to participate in our entrepreneurial boot camp to look at the possibility of starting up a business in the Wisconsin Rapids area. But then we also partner with other organizations. In this case, I'll talk about Lincoln High School. They have a career advisory day. So myself and other members of the community are going out into the high school. We spend about a half a day there telling them about the careers that we have in the community, the opportunities that we have with the organizations and businesses that we represent, and what they could look forward to if they'd come back to Wisconsin Rapids. So again, that's a huge need in the area, but it's one that we can't fulfill on our own at the Heart of Wisconsin, so we partner with other organizations and educational institutions to do that type of programming. You're welcome.
Other questions? Alderperson Kirkpatrick?
Thank you. I guess this really isn't so much a question as just thanking you for coming down, giving your presentation tonight. And I know I saw Phil here just before everybody started to file in. Had a really great, about a 5 or 6 minute long, I guess, video that really focused on all the positive aspects of our area of Wisconsin Rapids and all the things that it has to offer as a community, with some great I guess what media people might classify as hero shots of all the great landmarks and trails in the community, which, you know, I mean, we walk past the river and you don't really think much of the trails, but when you see them focused and framed in such a manner, and see the downtown framed in such a manner, Grand Avenue and the clock tower, it really sticks in your mind. And I mean, I know Phil knows the video, and I'm sure you're kind of starting to think about which video I'm talking about here, but anything that we could do as a city to be able to put something like that has that sort of talent and really just great thought behind it, and get that on the city's website. You know, I mean, our website does need a lot of attention, a lot of work, and I think what you guys did down there is really put together something that's just top notch, bar none, that, you know, a fresh look at the area. And we always talk about using our website as one of the primary tools for disseminating information to outside business prospects and to current business prospects within the community. And I think that video right there would go a long way on our homepage to really, you know, push that idea, drive that idea home. So anything that, you know, you guys can do that we can do with you and you can do to help us, you know, with that sort of thing, I think would just be absolutely amazing.
Great. I appreciate that comment. I'm assuming you're referring to our Where's Bob quality of life video?
He watched both.
Oh, and the economic development video. They're both, as you said, quality pieces. They're available on YouTube, or we can provide discs jump drives, whatever the case may be. We've offered those resources to our local realtor community, and we're happy to share with any business that wants to get the message out there that this is a great place to live, work, and play.
And Melissa, maybe if you could circulate the links to the YouTube amongst the council members who have email addresses, that would be helpful.
I would be happy to.
They all can watch them. Other questions? Alderperson Worrell asked me the other day, and I didn't know the answer to it, when Rekindle the Spirit is going to be. Is it going to be before Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving this year?
So it'll be before. It's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving,
Okay.
that evening.
And I'm getting a head shake from him. I've got two questions. One is relating to, I guess, the action the city council took last year during the budget process in terms of the room tax allocation. Can you speak to that impact and how it's forced you to be a little bit more nimble in terms of your programming offering? And also, if you could speak to the membership growth that you've experienced because you've been now less reliant on public funds maybe and more reliant on membership funds.
Absolutely. As far as the impact that it had to the Chamber of Commerce, the impact was great. We no longer have a front desk person, which it's been very challenging for us. Our front desk deals a lot, even though we're the business organization and we promote business within the community. We had previously also housed the Visitors and Convention Bureau for a number of years. So we have community members as well as visitors who stop in looking for visitor information to the Chamber of Commerce. So our front desk person spends a lot of time and resources on directing and assisting people with those types of concerns. And our front desk also sells our gift certificates and provides support to our staff. So we've taken a lot of the support staff that we used to have, we've had to take that on ourselves, which is happening in a lot of companies, and we've been fairly successful in able to do that. We've also had some tremendous volunteer help. Karen Landowski has been just a gem for us. She volunteers for us 4 hours a day, every day, and has a smile on her face and does wonders with our customers. And we have several other key volunteers that have stepped up and allowed us to get through the challenges of this year. We certainly didn't implement much new programming this year because of it, but that's okay. That's okay. We were able to, as the mayor alluded to, we were able to grow our membership. We were at about 340 members towards the end of last year. We're up to 380 at this point. So certainly has been a pointed focus on member development. There's still a lot to be done in the areas of economic and community development, but we'll continue to show the value of the organization and our programming.
Thank you. And another question I've got, you've talked about kind of the realignment in events. And events have been a tricky thing for your organization because they're meant to complement your membership offering and your mission pieces in terms of networking and promotion and all that sort of thing. Do you see gaps that remain in the community because of your realignment of your events and maybe doing less quality of life events and focusing on fewer events?
I think the biggest impact that our participation or lack of participation had was on the Betty Boop Festival. We had dedicated a considerable amount of staff time to the Betty Boop Festival, and we're not able to continue doing that. So that festival has faced some challenges. That's probably the best example.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? All right. Well, thank you for being here. And if you want to circulate the presentation, feel free to do so, and definitely the links that were requested in terms of the videos from Hearts Media. Moving to the next item on our agenda is item number 7, the report of the Planning Commission meeting held September 9th. The Planning Commission met at 5 p.m. on September 9th, 2013 in the first floor conference room of City Hall. All members were present. Also present was Adam Tagan. A list of others present is on file in the clerk's office. There was a motion and a second to approve the report from August 5th. The motion was carried. There were no other maps or plats received. Item 3 on the agenda that evening was action on Plan 130440 from UA Sales, in which the applicant requested that the item be held over until October for more information. There was a motion and a second to approve, and the motion was carried. Item 4 was a public hearing on Plan 130534 by Rouge Companies, LLC, in which the applicant requested a zoning change from R2 one-family and two-family residential to the R3 multifamily residential district. The subject properties were located at 620, 630, and 640 22nd Street North, and 621, 631, and 641 23rd Street North within the city of Wisconsin Rapids. Public hearing was held on a zoning change in which no one spoke against the request, and speaking in favor of the request was Shane Roosh, the requester, residing at 5601 Hemlock Road, Vesper, Wisconsin, 54489. Item 5 was action on that plan request by Roosh Companies, LLC. There was much discussion. Following the discussion, there was a motion and a second to recommend a zoning change from R2 one-family and two-family residential district to the R3 multifamily residential district at 620, 630, and 640 22nd Street North, and 621, 631, and 641 23rd Street North. Motion carried with the Commissioner and Alderperson Rayom voting in the negative. The committee adjourned following a motion and a second. Alderpersons, what is your wishes regarding the report of the Planning Commission meeting held September 9th?
Motion to approve the report, place it on file.
We have a motion. Is there a second? System's working tonight. We have a motion and a second. Discussion? Alderperson Rayom?
Thank you, Your Honor. I would just like to, I guess, speak a little bit with on number 5, which I did vote against. And I think everybody that was present that evening at the Planning Commission spoke in favor of the project continuing or to go forward. I don't think there was opposition to that. My opposition was of the rezoning of the property and not having a planned unit development or something like that. I didn't think that we had to rezone the property. Somewhat leery, I guess. Not that I have any doubts of Shane moving forward with the project, but that we also in the last few months had a project there where we rezoned a property on Baker, and that business that we rezoned it for then didn't continue in that. And as my understanding is that the rezoning stands that we did there, so that anything basically could go in. And in this case, it'd be the same, is that if for some reason the project didn't continue, that the rezoning would be there. So I just have some concern about going that route. Not against anything really against what Shane is talking about doing, but I just felt that we could accomplish the same. Shane could accomplish the same without rezoning of the property.
Thank you. Alderperson Stack?
Thank you, Your Honor. In the summary of the Roosh Company plans, the applicant has stated that the intended use of the properties is for 3-unit apartment buildings, or is that 3 4-units? I'm just odd number there. Instead of, a duplex or a 4-unit facility, it says 3-unit. Is that correct, that they are 3-unit buildings?
Adam can speak to it, or Shane's also here this evening and probably could speak to it as well.
Yeah, the applicant is proposing 3-unit buildings. It would be similar to what his father had built in the Rosewood area, so they would be 3 units per building.
Okay, single floor or?
Single floor, yep.
Single floor. Okay, thank you, that was all.
Any further discussion? And I think to Alderperson Rayom's concern, and maybe those of the Planning Commission, as Shane continues to come to the city with projects, we'd appreciate more detail when that request is made, just so that everyone has a little more comfort level and not having to hesitate maybe in the approval. So in advance, I thank you for that. Any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 7 ayes and 1 nay.
Okay, item 8 under new business. Item A is the election of a member to the Waterworks and Lighting Commission. Alderpersons, we received a packet from the clerk's office with, I believe, 3 individuals, right? That last one is the second. She sent 2 pages, okay. So we've got 3 individuals wishing to be nominated and for consideration here. Do we want to open that up for those? I guess Alderperson Young has requested to speak.
I do,
Okay.
or I did. I would like to nominate Lee Albright. I think he did a phenomenal job as our liaison to Water Works and Lighting Commission, and I think he'd do a great job as a commissioner.
We've got a nomination for former Alderperson Lee Albrecht. Alderperson Kirkpatrick.
I just have a question, if it's not out of line at the moment. If Mr. Bergen or if Mrs. Faith are in the audience tonight.
I see John here. John, would you like to come to the podium, maybe speak to, since there might be less awareness about you and of the members of the council? And just go ahead and introduce yourself with state your name. Make sure you push the push button on the microphone, the base of the mic.
John Bergen, okay. I am a resident, and I've spent time here since 1979 as a resident. And I've had a considerable exposure in my business career to electrical systems and to water systems. In fact, early in my career, I had 10 years at 2 separate mills where I was responsible for the wells, the water treatment, and as well as the effluent treatment for those operations directly. I've been a production manager and mill manager, so I'm very familiar with power and electrical control systems in manufacturing. You have any specific questions that you would like to ask?
I don't personally know. I always like to have the individuals who are making the request to come before us, be here for one, and to have the opportunity to speak and say something. Thank you.
Okay, I think I could represent this council and the Waterworks and Lighting Commission in a balanced fashion and represent the interests of the community and speak particularly for the manufacturing sector and their interests. Since I do facilitate a peer council with a number of the local manufacturers, I have pretty good familiarity with their interests and needs. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, John. Alderperson Stack.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to nominate Mr. Bergen. I read through his VITA that he presented to the members of the council, and I see that the background that he provided in that VITA as a worthwhile, a good thing to have on the membership of the Water and Light Commission. Thank you. So I would nominate Mr. Bergen.
And is Susan Feith here this evening? I'm not seeing Susan in the audience. Okay. And so we've got correspondence from her as well. Alderpersons, any further nominations? And for the probably second, maybe the final time, I'll call for nominations. Seeing none, we'll close nominations, and I believe you've got some paper ballots in front of you this evening, so if you could just please vote for one of the 2 people that have been nominated at this point, Lee Albrecht and or John Bergen. Lee, did you want to have an opportunity to speak as well? Since you're here, and I guess we didn't bring you to the podium, so my apologies.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Lee Albrecht, member of been living in Wisconsin Rapids area since 1977. My wife and I moved here, and we opened a business here in the community and ran a successful business for 23 years, which we sold in 2000. Since then, I've had some part-time jobs. In 2007, I was elected to a member of the city council, and I enjoyed that immensely. And after 6 years, I thought it was time to move on and do something else. And as a member of the city council, I was the liaison person to the Water and Lighting Commission. I'm familiar with their workings, so forth. Granted, I do not know a tremendous lot about water and electricity, but I think you need other people also on the commission that do not know that. I think you need people that can know how to run a successful business, because the Water and Light Company is a business. And I think that's what I could bring to the company. Thank you.
Any questions for Lee? No? Okay. All right, please go ahead and cast your ballots, and the two gentlemen will pick up the ballots as they pass by.
All right, Lee Albrecht had gotten 3 votes. John Bergen had gotten 5 votes. So John Bergen was elected.
Gentlemen, thanks for your interest, and I think it begs a message too regarding Ellen Dahl, who has served many, many years. For those of you who know, Ellen served for a long time, and her name begs mentioning here tonight, and I understand that John will be taking her seat then on the Waterworks and Lighting Commission. Thanks for your interest. Obviously, those commission appointments come up, I think, annually. We've got another one yet again next year. So thank you for your interest, and be sure to get in touch with the Water and Light folks here to get your contact information to them as well, John. Okay, next item of business, item 8B, is a resolution exempting the city of Wisconsin Rapids from the county library tax. See attachment number 1. And I'll go ahead and read that. Whereas the Wood County Board levies a county library tax, whereas section 43.642B of the Wisconsin statutes provides that such units of government which extend an amount equal to that which should be levied by the county board for library purposes may apply for exemption of this tax. And whereas the city of Wisconsin Rapids does levy a library tax in excess of that proposed to be levied by Wood County. Now therefore be it resolved that the city of Wisconsin Rapids hereby requests the Wood County Library Board, the city of Wisconsin Rapids be exempted from the payment of any county library taxes provided in section 43.64(2)B, inasmuch as it appropriated and will expend for its own library fund during 2014. The amount is in excess of that proposed to be levied by the County of Wood. Exemption from the payment of said county library tax shall not preclude the city of Wisconsin Rapids' participation in county library services in all other respects. Be it further resolved that the confirmed copies of the resolution be forwarded by the city clerk to the Wood County Library Board and to the Wood County clerk. Alderpersons, what are your wishes regarding that resolution?
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion?
Who seconded it?
I think Tom seconded it. You can,
Button it.
I guess, for the system. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Alderperson Stack. Not sure.
Pardon me. Just to Mr. DeSorcy, what's the value of the savings? Do you happen to have that handy?
I don't know the exact savings for the city as far as being exempted from that, but I know that the Wood County aid that the city does receive from the other municipalities and is usually in excess of $400,000, and it does fluctuate yearly.
Okay, so we're a part of that 400.
No, the reason why we're exempted is because we levy in excess of $1 million to support the library operations, and the county levies a tax to make a payment to help support the library, and since we're already levying, we are exempted from that, from the county rate. The city residents are.
You're right. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, seeing none, please cast your ballots. Alderperson Stack, can you, it's a two-step. Go faster yet.
Motion carried, 8 ayes and 0 nays.
Item 9, Standing Council Committee Reports. Item A, Finance and Property Committee meeting held September 3rd.
Thank you, Mayor, and welcome to everyone here this evening and to everyone watching at home. Finance and Property Committee met at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, September 3rd in the first floor conference room at City Hall. All members were present. A list of others in attendance is on file in the clerk's office. Item 2, there were no special beer license applications. Item 3, an application for a Class A liquor and beer license filed by Wisconsin CVS Pharmacy, LLC, Bradley Studenmeyer, agent, number 10163, for premises located at 2410 8th Street South. It was moved and seconded to approve that application, and the motion carried. Item 4, an application for a reserved Class B liquor and beer license filed by Lil Giddy Up LLC, Linda Wogan, agent, DBA Cravings Coffee Company, for the premises located at 312 8th Street South. It was moved and seconded to approve that application, and the motion carried. Item 5, a request from Bridget Cheriton from the Southwood County Humane Society for approval of a special events application for September 21, from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at Robinson Park to include vending and suspension of the ordinance prohibiting pets in the park. It was moved and seconded to approve that special events application, and that motion carried. Item 6, a request from Rich Elmhorst to purchase a parcel of city-owned land at 140 Spring Street, parcel number 3405500. It was moved and seconded to approve that sale for the purchasing price of $1,500. That motion carried. Item 7, a request from Mayor Verwink for permission to apply for a CN grant of $25,000, which relates to trees and beautification. It was moved and seconded to approve that application, and that motion carried. Item 8, consider a recommendation from Statewide Services to deny a claim from Enterprise Rent-A-Car for damages to their rental vehicle. It was moved and seconded to deny that claim, and the motion carried. Item 9, discuss RFP process for shared ride taxi service procurement and the responsibilities of the Finance and Property Committee members in the evaluation process as required by Wisconsin DOT. No action was taken. It was informational only. Item 10A, it was moved and seconded to approve licenses for the following new applicants, or for the listed new applicants. That motion carried. B, it was moved and seconded to renew licenses for the individuals listed. Motion carried. Item C, there were no applications recommended denied by the police department. Item 11, and I would note that item 11 actually was item number 1. We moved that to the top of our agenda. 11A, in open session, it was moved and seconded to go into closed session under section 19.85, parent 1, parent E of the Wisconsin statutes. Roll call vote taken and motion carried unanimously. B, in closed session, the committee considered the sale of excess right-of-way property along East Riverview Expressway to Michael Zerflu. C, motion and second to return to open session. It was moved and seconded to recommend that an offer be made to Mr. Zerflu to sell the property for $11,800 with all the conditions as outlined in City Attorney Schill's memo, but with the removal of the city's buyback rights and with the addition of the requirement that the parking lot be screened with landscaping as acceptable to the city. That motion carried. Item 12, moved and carried to adjourn, and the meeting adjourned at 6:12, and with that, I'd make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Alderperson Rayom?
Thank you, Your Honor. I got to get back to it. In regards to item 11, I guess I see that on our agenda, it may be that we go into closed session later. I guess just is there update on where we are in that can be talked about now
I guess
or
it
discussed?
would be up to you, the council's wishes, if you want to move it to the, hold it out for the end to be able to move into a closed session to have a discussion on it if you wish. You can.
That-
Right now, we're approving the report, and you have the ability to hold it out, right? I mean,
And it's my understanding that we have not come to an agreement with Mr. Zerflu on that, on the recommendation from finance, if that's your question of whether, so I think he still does not want to, does not want to buy it for that amount.
If we approve what the minutes say, where are we at, I guess, with that item?
Well, then
We don't, I mean, we aren't in agreement, right? Is that what you just said?
well, we're not in agreement with Mr.
Right,
Zerflu
right.
necessarily the last I spoke with him, but
Right.
you're basically saying this is the amount that we're offering the property to you for. I mean, you're confirming what the recommendation of the finance committee was and how much you wanted the property for.
Then at the end of the meeting, we'll still have that opportunity to go into closed or not?
Well, I would suggest that you decide that now, whether you want to dispose of it now in open session, or whether you want some more information in closed session, and then that would probably need to go at the end because of our taping of the meeting.
Alderperson Kirkpatrick?
Just a question in general, I guess, and following up on Tom's line here. Is there new information now that was, updated since it came before finance, or anything else that would have relevant bearing on this from the current recommendation?
I don't know what new information maybe you'd be referring to. Essentially, the question was whether or not there's been an agreement based on what finance
Right.
agreed to, and there is
Right.
not. From what I understand, there hasn't been an agreement reached based on that.
Okay.
So the options exist. You approve the minutes, dispense with it now, or you choose to discuss it in closed session at the end of the meeting, should you wish to discuss it in closed session,
Okay.
or deal with it in open session now. Alderperson Kellogg?
So if we accept the minutes, then it doesn't preclude at the Finance Committee meeting again, Mr. Zerflu could come forth and share a different perspective or insights that would maybe come closer to an agreement with the city and then come on the agenda for next month.
Yeah, should a successful referral be made and the chairperson chooses to put it on there, I believe that wouldn't be an issue in the coming meeting.
And I assure you, I haven't blocked an item from coming back to.
Not saying you did, but.
No. That's a fair question.
Yeah.
Because I could decide, you know what, we've dispensed of it and I'm not going to hear it again, but I wouldn't do that. If there's ongoing relevant discussion that moves this item further along, then we're going to hear it again.
Yeah, because if it was closed in the future, I would make a motion that we would have a closed discussion tonight. But if it's going to be a further discussion, potential further discussion, then I would move.
I guess my thinking is, Alderman, that I don't know what new there would be, and most of you were at that meeting. There's a couple that were unable to attend, but I just feel like we're going to be rehashing the same, and I always give everyone an opportunity to speak and make sure they were heard, so I'm just not sure what new information we'd have.
Any further discussion? Alderperson Nash? I'm thinking, did you want to speak? You're reaching for your mic?
I
Okay.
was thinking about it.
Can you,
I'm just
oh,
wondering.
he hit it again, I'm sorry. I didn't
Mr.
realize.
Zerflu's sitting there, if you would like to say something, you needed to be recognized, or if you wanted,
Mike can come to the
I would
podium and
recognize
introduce
my guest
yourself,
since he
please.
took his time to come down here.
Thank you.
Do I need to, is this on then, or? I apologize, I have a hearing problem, I couldn't quite hear what you guys were all talking about, but I do appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm asking for a council member to make a motion to sell me this strip of land with the limitations that were put on it by the city for $4,000. This strip of land has no value to the city or anyone except the adjoining property owner, which at this time is myself. In hindsight, I should have negotiated for this land before I bought this property and/or before all the improvements that I completed. This was a very unattractive corner that I have made look very nice, with the exception of the parking lot and landscaping that has been held up by this piece of land. The percentage of this land that I would be acquiring is very minimal compared to what I currently own. If the city sells this to me for $4,000, the city will get $4,000, the land will be taxed for years to come, the corner will look very nice with the landscaping and new parking lot and signage that I will complete. I will keep this property in very good condition. The city gets their restrictions that they have put on the property. Everyone wins, including the taxpayers. The value established by the assessor was my understanding based on the square footage of land that would be acquired. It did not take into account that there was a large hole, not level land, that I have since leveled and compacted. It did not take into account the catch basin that's on the property that I'd be acquiring, that I'd be responsible for maintaining. It did not take into account the park and sell, the restriction of no park and sells. It did not take into account no work trailers, etc. on this land, and the required landscaping. If the city does not accept the $4,000, the city loses. No $4,000, no increase in the tax base. The corner will not be as attractive unless the city spends taxpayers' dollars to do so. The remaining part of the land to the north will not be as developable because of my requirement to put parking on that property which I own. I need to move forward and get this resolved to get the surface paved before winter. In closing, I'm asking for your support, and I'm asking for a member of the council to make a motion at this time for the sale of the land to myself, Mike Zerflu, for $4,000 with the previously agreed upon restrictions, and I'm asking for all of your votes. I did bring a check for $4,000 today, and I would like to move forward, and I'll welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mike. Alderperson Rayom wanted to speak. I missed it before I recognized Alderperson Nash. My apologies. Oh, okay. Sure. The attorney has a question.
Mike, when you say the restrictions, I'm assuming you mean all of the laundry list, but then are you going back to the buyback, putting that buyback provision back in there, or is that?
If you want to put that back in,
Okay.
I'm fine with that too.
No, I didn't know if you meant that we were pulling that restriction back in or not. Okay, thank you.
Yes, I'd be fine with that also.
And Mike, out of curiosity, the $4,000 valuation that you have kind of felt that it was an appropriate price, can you tell myself and maybe council members how you arrived at the $4,000?
You know, I appreciate Alderman Kellogg and Alderman Holcamp. I did try to contact all the alder people. I know Alderman Nash, I appreciate the call back. I know you're working on a shutdown, but so I did get the opportunity to meet with the two alder people, if I'm saying that correct. And you know, where I came up with that, actually I've talked to a lot of people. I've talked to some of my competition regarding this, and a lot of individuals I've talked to. What's a lot? It's been less than a dozen individuals I've talked to. What value does this have to the city? I know I've had conversation with some of you individuals on, and I know Ms. Schill, I know we disagree on that a little bit, but the hospital, I know there's going to be some land vacated, or part of Dewey Street, I believe, is going to be vacated, that the hospital's getting, at my understanding, for no fee, and part of a road that's being taken out. Now, I'm not against the hospital. I mean, I think we have a great hospital here, but where I came up with that number, I think it's more than fair, that number. There was no mathematics behind it, but I feel it's a fair price to give something for it. And again, I can't go backwards. I should have negotiated on this before I did it, and I don't think we would have had an issue. Maybe you guys would have said, take it if you're going to clean that corner up. But I can't go backwards. I do want to move forward, but that is the most I'm willing to pay for it. And I think it's a very fair price.
Alderperson Nash? Attorney, 1 second. Attorney, did that satisfy your question? Okay, go ahead.
And I was wondering that too, but I mean, where does the city come up with $11,000?
What my understanding, because I met with...
I guess I'm not asking you, I'm asking...
I met with Steve, the assessor, and what he informed me is he came up, he was asked, I believe, and maybe Attorney Schill can answer it better. But what I was told was he came up with it based on square footage of the land. But again, I did not take all those facts, all those items into account. There's a catch basin there that I will be required to maintain. All those other things were not taken into effect when I had the conversation with him.
The attorney can speak to the calculation.
Yeah, the 11.8 actually came from the assessor's fair market value of approximately 5,000 square feet of the land, which we were originally talking about. And that's based upon more of the, kind of the sliver being $1 a square foot, and the land more adjacent to his building being $5 per square foot. So originally, we were at 11,800. Since then, we met with Mike, and he showed us the need that he needed more property. So we almost doubled the amount of property we were going to sell, but kept the same price. The assessor would actually state that this property is worth $23,000 if it didn't have any restrictions on it. We were willing to waive the restrictions, and Mike, and I don't think that's a huge deal one way or the other, but, so actually the 11.8 is half of what our assessor is saying the property is worth, and it's simply retaining the number that we had negotiated with before, but giving him twice as much land.
And then my follow-up question would be then, what use is this land to the city? I mean, what are we out promoting this land, trying to sell it and develop it somehow, or are we just sitting here scratching our heads? Can anybody answer that?
I can answer that.
No, I don't want to hear from you. I
Okay,
want to hear
sorry.
from city staff here.
You want me to?
No, go ahead. Please.
This property came when the city acquired the Chicago Northwestern right-of-way back in the 60s, and the Riverview Expressway was put on it. It's access to the expressway right-of-way, but we haven't come up with a policy on what to do with this whole stretch of extra right-of-way that we acquired when we acquired the railroad right-of-way in the 60s.
And that was when I was 16 years old, and it's been sitting there since then. Okay, we can do what we want, but I don't see the use of it to the city, and I'd like to hold this out, because we can go into closed session, right?
We can.
If we hold this out?
Yeah.
Right? And we can discuss it in closed session? I would make a motion to hold this item out then.
Okay. So the remaining report is all of the items with the exception of item 11.
Do I stick around for that then? I don't understand, I've never.
Yeah, please.
And I'll be able to attend the closed session, or?
Parts of it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I guess the rest of the speaking order,
Well,
does it retain?
I did want to ask.
Sure.
Because while individuals are still watching at home, and the comment was made about the hospital property, I'd like to clarify, because I know that we talked about it at the finance meeting, the difference between giving away property to the hospital versus not giving away this right away. So I wanted Sue to have the opportunity to respond to that.
Right, the difference is between vacating right-of-way and selling excess property that is right-of-way. When you vacate a street or an alley, that property has to go to the adjoining property owners with no compensation. When you're selling excess property, that, can be for consideration.
And the other conversation that we had at the finance meeting was really about, once we set a price, we are making that decision. And maybe Bob's been sitting around for, well, he's pretty young, 20 years, waiting for a policy, but we don't have one yet. So I'm a little, I guess those were my two, one question and one comment.
Other alderpersons regarding the speaking order, was that regarding item 11 or any other items? Okay. Anybody else wishing to make their point now? And we want to hold it until the closed session? Okay. All right.
I just had a question regarding it.
Sure. Go ahead, Alderperson Kirkpatrick.
I mean, since we're going to be talking about it in closed session, that's one thing, but I mean, if we're, we have one number down on here, and Mike is putting another number out there, and I was just going to ask, but I guess this was before the motion was made, if, now it's out in the open, that we can put out the other numbers that were discussed during that meeting in closed session, but if we're going to close, then I guess it's the other numbers that were, what the original numbers were, and then the other considered numbers and things of that
Well, I
nature.
think the big number is if we removed that buyback, that it was 23,000.
Right.
Worth 23.
Right.
Okay, so the motion is, with the exception of item number 11, the Finance and Property Report meeting held September 3rd. Any other discussion? Right. If you want to make that comment, that's...
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, I don't have any more information to provide, and I guess, I mean, unless you feel that you need more information from us, I think Mike has spoken, if you want to just take the vote now, go ahead. I don't have anything more to add. The materials are in front of you, and it's just, so, I mean, just to avoid a closed session and have him wait around, but that's up to you.
Okay, so the motion is to approve the Finance and Property meeting report, meeting held September 3rd, with the exception of items with the exception of number 11. Please cast your ballots. Some of you have.
Motion carried, 8 ayes and 0 nays.
So,
And I was just going to handle the next motion.
I guess if you, I understand what you're saying. Well, I guess, yeah, I, whether I get a second or not, I don't care. I'll make a motion to accept his offer of $4,000 for that property. I don't see the use.
We have a motion
I
to...
haven't heard any reason why we need it.
We have a motion to approve the offer to purchase the access right-of-way along East Riverview Expressway to Michael Zurfu for $4,000 with the previous agreed-upon restrictions. Is there a second for that motion? Shane's going to get his system set here. Nash. Is there a second on that motion? Alderperson Kellogg, do you have a question?
I have a question. I mean, it concerns me that if there's not a second, then it becomes a moot issue now, and it would go back to finance. And then I was thinking about what was mentioned about the weather and timeliness and putting in the parking area and so forth. It seems to me that if we take a vote, I'd rather have more of a discussion. I hate to say
Well,
this.
it'll need a second to have the discussion, so if you're willing to have the discussion and want to second it.
I would take a motion, I would second a motion for discussion.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second to sell the property. Now we'll move into discussion. Go ahead and push your second button, please.
Okay.
This is a purple button.
And so, did I push the right one?
The purple button, the second the motion, then you have to confirm it.
Okay.
There we go. We've got it. Alderperson Kirkpatrick, I guess first speaking, and then go ahead and hit your speaking button if you'd like to speak on the issue.
Well, since we're going to have discussion about it now, I guess, I just wanted to address a few things that were stated up at the podium. The idea of a catch basin for parking being maintained as installation, and that being a bit of maintenance as required by the city, that's required anyway. If the catch basin for the parking lot, that's required by the city anyway. So the idea that we're imposing an additional restriction is a non-issue, because that's an ordinance anyway. If you have a non-porous surface or a non-permeable surface, you have to have some type of a method for water collection or water retention. So to say that a catch basin is us imposing a restriction on you as part of this purchasing agreement that's not an issue. That's not a valid argument. The list of restrictions that, those other various restrictions that you said, the park and sell, these other things here, these are all, again, city ordinances. So we're not imposing restrictions upon you out of some crazy idea to impose restrictions on the property. It's These are ordinances. These are things that go along with any property that's put down there unless it's specifically requested. And I wish I had brought the remainder of my notes from the meeting that night, but Gene did mention about the $23,000 mark. That's what this property was appraised at without the buyback on there. So the property was appraised at over $23,000 without the buyback option. The buyback option was put in there, which dropped the appraisal price to somewhere in the neighborhood of $18,000. So right away, the city said the property is less valuable with a buyback option, so we put it out there to sell it to you for $18,000. You countered back with, somebody helped me with a number here, what the counter offer was, $1,500 or $4,000. So I can't remember which it was right off the bat. We came back and we said at that meeting, we counter offered with $11,800. We placed the ball in your court to come back with us, or come back to us with something. And you came back with the exact same offer. So there's no, the city has come down quite a bit off of the original $18,000 recommended sale price. We took out the buyback option because buying the property back makes no difference. It doesn't matter. We don't, the property is, it is what it is. So if you want to get technical about it, the property is worth $23,000. So to put in an offer of $4,000 on a $23,000 piece of property, and then by taking out the buyback, you yourself had said in the meeting that that made the property more valuable to you. Well, that increases the cost of the property as well then, as far as I'm concerned. The $11,800 is a fair offer as far as I'm concerned, unless you can come back with a more fair offer to the taxpayers of the city of $4,000.
I'd like to call the question and move on to the vote, please.
We have a motion to call the question and end debate and discussion. Was there a second? There was a second. So we have a motion to call the question. We can do so. Do you want to do a voice vote? Anybody in opposition to that? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So motion to cease debate. So all in favor of ceasing debate and moving on to the vote? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, so we're going to do a roll call vote just so we can make sure that that's appropriate. All right, run down your roll call. Or do you want to just do a roll call, run down here, and we'll keep track of them? Okay, he's got it. Push your button. Yeah.
Thank you. So we got a motion and a second.
All right, if you could please re-vote on there, just so we've got that for the record. This is a motion to cease debate.
Motion carried, 5 ayes and 3 nays.
All right, we'll move into a vote. Wait for Shane to get caught up here. The motion is to sell it for $4,000 with the restrictions, with the previously agreed upon restrictions. And we got Nash as first and Kellogg's as second. And Scott, would you mind hitting the second button for Shane here again? Second, and then... There we go. We've got it registered. So we've got a motion and a second, and we'll move into a vote, so please cast your ballots. Right, everyone clear on the motion? It's to sell the property for $4,000. Right. I think it's maybe batteries.
Motion was defeated, 1 7 nays.
So that motion failed.
It's not being sold for $4,000.
No.
Correct.
I make a motion to approve the item as noted in the minutes.
We have a motion to approve.
Second.
Previously discussed. In a second, please hit the button if you wouldn't mind. Any other discussion on that motion? Seeing none, please cast your ballots.
Motion carried. 5 ayes and 3 nays.
Okay, moving to the next item on our agenda, item B, under 9, Standing Council Committee Reports, the Public Works Committee meeting held September 3rd.
Good evening. We ready for Public Works here? Shane, okay. Public Works Committee met at 6 PM on Tuesday, September 3rd, 2013, in the first floor conference room in City Hall. All members were present. Also attending were Dave Lasp and Joe Eichstead. A list of others present is on file in the clerk's office. The meeting was called to order. Item number 2 was a request from Roger Giese, 541 Oak Street, to replace the curb and gutter and patch 6th Street North at 1306 Street North that was removed to connect the sanitary lateral. Mr. Giese was present for this item. He moved the house at 650 Birch Street to 136th Street North in October 2011 and had the sanitary sewer and water laterals connected. In May of 2013, it was determined that the sewer lateral was connected to an abandoned lateral and that the original sanitary lateral from the house was laid on a grade that would not flow into the live lateral. The lateral had to be re-excavated and relayed from the house to the street. The street surfacing and curb and gutter were not replaced. Mr. Giese wants the city to do the replacement at city cost. The estimated cost is $1,600. There was a motion and a second to replace the street surfacing and curb and gutter replacement at 1306 Street North at city cost. The estimated cost is $1,600. Alderperson Rayom said he didn't think the city was at fault as things played out, but to resolve the issue, a vote was taken. That motion carried. Item 3 is request from Midway Center Rentals for a contractors development agreement from the city of Wisconsin Rapids to bring in water and sewer laterals at the property of 221 Lincoln Street, parcel number 34-07897. No one was present for this item. Gerald Geisart, representing Midway Center Rentals, is requesting a developer's agreement to have the city install the sanitary lateral and water lateral from the mains to the lot line at 221 Lincoln Street. There was a house that was moved onto the parcel in September of 1998 next to the existing house already on the parcel. There is no sanitary lateral and water laterals to this moved house. They want to use it as a commercial building and needs the utilities to do so. The estimated cost is $14,287.67. There is a motion and a second to approve the developer's agreement with the city of Wisconsin Rapids to bring in water and sewer laterals at the property of 221 Lincoln Street, parcel number 34-07897. That motion carried. Item 4, proposed changes to the traffic signing and marking on West Grand Avenue between 10th Avenue and 17th Avenue South. The following are the proposed changes to the traffic signing and marking on West Grand Avenue between 10th Avenues and 17th Avenue South. To paint the 12-inch wider wide ladder crosswalks at the following intersections: 10th Avenue and West Grand Avenue, 12th Avenue and West Grand Avenue, 13th Avenue and West Grand Avenue, 15th Avenue and West Grand Avenue, which would be a new crosswalk, 17th Avenue and West Grand Avenue. Paint crosswalks on all side streets on this section of West Grand Avenue with stop bars. Install rectangular flashing beacons on the vertical post at 10th Avenue and West Grand Avenue. Eliminate the school crossing zone from 100 feet west of 17th Avenue to 100 feet east of 13th Avenue because they do not match the new Wisconsin DOT school zone specifications. There is motion and second to approve the proposed changes to the traffic signing and marking on West Grand Avenue between 10th Avenues and 17th Avenue South. The motion carried. Item 5, review the requirements to prohibit trains from blowing their whistle at crossings. The committee reviewed the requirements. Item 6, remove the school zones due to signing plan updates at the following locations. A, West Grand Avenue from 100 feet west of 17th Avenue South to 16th Avenue. B, West Grand Avenue from 100 feet west of 13th Avenue to 100 feet east of 13th Avenue. C, as you can see on the bottom, is a correction to item 6, that 6C should not be removed. And D should not be removed but amended in item 7 following item, or E there then is Chestnut Street from 300 feet west of Baker's, well, from 100 to 300 feet. North it has west of Baker Street to 8th Street south to 9th Street south. If hopefully you can follow as the printing is here on the TV. Bear with us here, I guess. Item 7, or there was a motion and second to approve removing the school zones. Motion carried, and to see the attached ordinance for this. Item 7, to amend the school zones due to the signing plan updates at the following locations. A, 16th Street South from, it'd be 100 feet south of the East River Rio Expressway to 100 feet south of Pepper Avenue. B, Chestnut Street from, would be 140 feet west of 12th Street South to 140 feet east of 13th Street South. There was a motion and second to approve amending the school zones. The motion carried. That ordinance is attached. The Secretary's note, correction to item 7 as follows: add item 6D should not be removed but amended, I guess, in 7B. 8, resolution to vacate a portion of Robinson Street right-of-way. There was motion and second to approve the resolution to vacate a portion of Robinson Street right-of-way. The motion carried. That resolution is attached. Item 9, review the proposed 2013 Public Works project schedule. The committee reviewed that. Review the referral list. Item 10, items 5 and 7 of 2013 could be removed. Item 11 was to adjourn. There was motion and second to adjourn. The motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 7:17 p.m. And with that, Your Honor, I move for adoption of the report.
We have a motion and a second to approve the Public Works Committee report held September 3rd. Discussion, Alderperson Kirkpatrick.
Thank you. Just a couple of questions. First, item number 5, I seem to recall that was taken up like 4.5 years ago. Are we moving forward with that idea, or is this just kind of some information based on new stuff from the state, or I guess I'm just kind of curious about that one.
I think the staff had a discussion, and I can defer to Dave. We had a discussion. I get regular contact from individuals looking for us in terms of what our direction and plan is if we're going to pursue this or not. And so referral was made to the Public Works Committee, and I don't know if there was any other source for that referral. Dave, if you want to speak to that.
Well, we updated the committee. It's basically the same law that the committee had taken up a couple of years ago. It's quite costly to do this in our city, and so we just reviewed the requirements again.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask if there was any discussion, in particular, certain crossings, if there was any sort of strategy discussed amongst Public Works Committee members on this particular issue.
Well, the strategy that's been in the past, I guess, is when crossings are rebuilt, that we take a look at rebuilding them into a condition that would allow us to get a quiet zone in the future.
Sure, and have we, reconstruction of West Grand, for example, in 1334, when that was reconstructed, does that meet any of the criteria?
Right. The only crossing right now that meets criteria is West Grand. That was when it was constructed in 2005.
And did the committee agree to start pursuing for the crossings that do qualify, or was there no action?
No, there wasn't any official action.
Okay. Go ahead, Kirkpatrick. I didn't cut you off. Sorry.
No, that's fine. I guess maybe I'll ask that of Tom later on this evening or something, but, item 6E, was that a really old typo? I'm trying to figure out how Chestnut and Baker come together in such a manner.
Yeah, that was a typo that we had corrected before, and when we do the ordinances now, they just line them out instead of, rewriting the ordinance, so that's why that was corrected a couple of months ago.
Okay. That was screwing me up really bad.
Yeah.
Alderperson Worrell?
I just want to know on item number 5, who keeps making the referrals for this item? Is it the citizens or the city?
Most of the issues, the contact that I had been were residents. I think David said that the committee hadn't been updated on recent legislation recently. Am I understanding you correctly on that, Dave?
Well, the legislation's the same, but we were just updating the committee where we had been. I think we took it up 3 years ago just to update the committee. We went a little more depth than we did 3 years ago.
Thank you. May I answer your question? Alderperson Rayom?
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. There is actually, I think, quite a bit of information, I think, that we had that evening. I don't think the other alderpersons not on the committee probably, or weren't there any, if they weren't present that night, didn't get that, but I had one call that evening when I got home that somebody had watched it on TV. It's been a person that has complained about the whistles in the past and that, so to do it, though, is quite a costly undertaking. I believe just the west side, I think, and I think I do have the info here and all my stuff, but I think was around 700,000 or something like that on the west side, and 600,000 or something on the east side to do that. So as those intersections or whatever are redone, that to try to do things to bring them into compliance, so the whistles wouldn't have to be blown. But it may be information to provide to the rest of the alderpersons to see what we had, the rules and regulations, and what the cost would be, and actually all the locations were on a map were identified in that. So,
And Dave, if you could provide that to the council members, that'd be great. So when they get calls on the issue, they can speak to it.
Sure, we'll provide them a packet on that.
Thank you. Alderperson Kellogg, you had a question?
Basically, that was my comment at the committee level, that all the alderpersons should get a copy of that so they have a sense of the number of intersections and the total cost. But my concern was, and I tried to suggest, is there any way of, if you modify some intersections, I mean, it's a real costly deal, but if you modify some intersections, would it result in less frequency of the blowing of the horn? I mean, there's going to be blowing of the horns, I suspect, but just with a few modifications may make a bigger difference. So that's something I think has to be discussed in future references.
And I think that was the message that may have gotten lost when it gets to the committee level, was the fact that I don't think any resident's asking for us to convert
No.
ourselves overnight to a quiet community. It's mitigating some of the noise that happens at so many intersections at certain hours of the evening. And I think that's the compromise that, in terms of the strategy, if I ask the question of what's the strategy, are there intersections that we've identified that make sense to pursue for that designation? Alderperson Kirkpatrick?
Yeah, and I guess the reason I kind of grabbed a question just off of number 5 here was just because I remember I was on the committee when it came up previously, and if Tom helped me out, if I remember correctly, we had kind of steered away from it at that time, at least because of primarily the cost involved, but also because the couple of intersections that, one, either were already meeting the requirements, or two, would have been most easily converted. We had, 4 or 5 intersections within not even a mile and a half, and they pretty much said, well, you'd have to do all of them all at once, because otherwise the train whistle carries for like a minimum of 3 miles or something like that is what its audible range is. So doing 2 intersections in a mile and a half didn't really, it didn't make any sense to do it. So
Were there any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, we've got a motion to approve and a second. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 8 ayes and 0 nays.
Next item on the agenda is item C, the Human Resources Committee meeting held September 12th.
The Human Resource Committee met at 5 PM on Thursday, September 12, 2013. All members were present except Stack. Kellogg sat in for Stack. Item 1, call to order. The meeting was called to order at 5:01 PM. Item 2, consider a request to fill the fall/winter recreation seasonal positions. It was moved and seconded to fill those positions, 24 positions in total with about 12 people. Motion carried. Item 3, consider a request by the police chief to hire an entry-level police officer and fill a lieutenant position due to a vacancy. It was moved and seconded to approve the request to hire an entry-level position or police officer and fill a lieutenant position. Motion carried. Item 4, a request to approve a side letter agreement regarding health insurance premiums with the International Association of Firefighters, Local 425. It was moved and seconded to approve the attached side letter agreement with the International Association of Firefighters. Motion carried, and that's attached. Item 5, adjourn. The meeting adjourned at 5:12, and I make a motion to approve this report.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please hit your button, Chad. Thank you. Discussion on the report? Seeing none, moving to a vote. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 8 ayes and 0 nays.
Next item on the agenda is item number 10, the miscellaneous reports. Item A, Housing Authority, held July 31st. Item B, the Park and Rec Commission, meeting held August 28th. Item C, the McMillan Memorial Library Board of Trustees, held July 17th. Item D, the Committee of the Whole, held August 20th. Item E, Police and Fire Commission, held August 14th. Item F, the Wisconsin Rapids Fire Department Monthly Organizational Summary Report for August. Item G, Waterworks and Lighting Commission meeting held September 14th, their regular meeting, August 14th, their regular meeting, and September 6th, their special meeting. Item H, the Wisconsin Rapids Police Department Monthly Report for August. Item I, the August Treasurer's Report on Investments. Item J, Southwood County Airport Commission meeting held September 5th. And item K, the Wastewater Treatment Commission held September 4th. Alderpersons, any discussion on those items or entertain a motion? We have a motion to approve and place on file, and the second discussion. Alderperson Kellogg.
We talked about a GIS position under the finance last time, and that we were going to work with the water and light in sharing that responsibility. And I just was curious, this is water and light, and it's not on the agenda for finance because that discussion didn't take place, but I wonder what the status of that position is.
So you're referring to the split, the cost sharing of that position,
Yeah.
right? So I think the conversation we had, the general manager and I, was to accommodate that through the annual budget process. Now, nothing has been reached. We haven't reached any agreement. Nothing has been presented, so we were going to address that during the annual budget process. However, I think there is an update in the conversation has been that there's an interest in potentially not cost sharing that position anymore because that they have determined that they have more needs potentially than going it in a collaborative approach. So, I guess that's the most recent update, if there is one, but it was not referred back to finance because it was going to be held through the annual budget process. But the latest is the fact that they have decided that there might be a position where they don't need to, they're not going to split with us. Alderperson Kirkpatrick?
Thank you.
I'm sorry,
Just
Marianne.
one thing here on Alexander Field, the Southwood County Airport minutes. Number 4, item B, was FBO Tri-Motor report. And, I know a lot of people in the community, I'm sure, saw the Tri-Motor out flying around town, and maybe, people went out and saw it. I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of credence, a little bit of shout out here to the job that the staff at the airport did in putting this thing together. And so if my colleagues will bear with me here for just a moment. The event took just under a year to plan and carry out, so there was a lot of time and effort involved in this. The fixed base operator did not have a total number of attendants or number of riders for the given flights at the time of this writing of this report. However, there were 38 flights given over the 5-day event, the majority of the flights on Saturday and Sunday, and most of the flights were full. So I think that shows a great interest in the community. And it does say they approximated 3,000 to 4,000 people for the overall turnout. So that's excellent as far as awareness in our community for the airport goes. The thing that I saw here as well was the number of flights given exceeded the EAA's expectations, and the excess money from the plane rides will go back to the EAA and is planned for donation to the Wounded Warrior Project. And I think that's commendable, extraordinary, and exceptional. And perhaps the residents of the community don't know about the Wounded Warrior Project, but they should. So take a moment as you surf the internet tonight and look it up. It's a worthwhile project, and it's great to see their money being funneled back to such a great project in one way or another. So I just want to give a good shout out to the airport crew and everybody down there. Thanks.
Alderperson Hokamp.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. On the water and light and the correspondence, I see there's a letter thanking them for the bottled water that they donated to the charity fundraising event. I wonder if Jim can give us an update on the bottled water that they have at the water and light, and how they did it, and what they have on hand, and how's it going over?
Todd, did you want to speak to that? The question is regarding the bottle of water. Want to maybe come to the podium so they can pick you up on the microphone at home? Thank you.
I'm Todd Weiler, the engineering supervisor at Water and Light. As people probably are aware, as a service to the community, we go ahead and we do bottle our water and then donate it to any organization that does request it.
Can you tell us how much you bottle at a time, or who does it, and is it done at the office over there, or the plant, or?
Actually, what we do is we have a tanker truck that we fill at the plant, and then we take it to a bottling company.
Oh, okay.
All right. Any other discussion on the reports in front of us this evening?
No, I just have one comment.
Please.
I would like to wish our fire chief a happy 50th this week, so 50 on Thursday. I know, I had to do that. I told you I would. I tell you, don't tell me these things.
Shout out. Well, happy birthday, Dave.
We expect treats.
I think there was a conversation regarding the waterworks and lighting reports. There are 2 items at their special meeting that I think we want to draw some attention to. Item number 5 was the employee insurance coverage. Council members had expressed some concern regarding what the commission's decision was going to be on that item, and the commission had voted again to uphold their action. And I see there's 2 commissioners here tonight. I commend John Harper for voting in the dissent on that. And then personally, I'll speak for myself on that. And then item 8, there was a discussion on the pilot. And I wasn't at the meeting, but I asked for a report on what that discussion was all about. And my understanding, it was more for information purposes, but I'm very curious to know if maybe the commissioners have a perspective that they want to share with the council tonight on those 2 items. Anything, either commissioner? I know, I'm sorry I didn't preempt you with that question, but it was regarding the employee health insurance plan, the decision to continue to uphold your position on that, and the piece on the pilot. So if you want to speak on it, you can. If not, you don't don't feel pressured to. It's just something that I personally would like their perspective on.
I just call for a point of order. I don't see the reason they had for you to hold it out and, or to
I just
bring
said
it up.
I
Okay?
wanted to point the items out.
Decision, okay?
Okay,
Let it
so, all right. Any other discussion? Mr. Harper?
I didn't understand your question about the pilot.
Yeah, I just noticed there was an educational topic in the piece, and so I see no formal action was taken, so I wasn't sure if there was any reason to have it on the agenda or what if it was purely an educational item or what that was for.
Information. It was informational, just to see property in lieu of taxes. Just how the formula was brought about and how it's changed over the years, but there was no action.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion on the reports? Seeing none, we'll move into a vote. Please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 8 ayes and 0 nays.
Item 11, under ordinances, item A, an ordinance incorporating new rate changes for septic and holding tank haulers and adding high-strength waste disposal rates as recommended by the Wastewater Treatment Commission at its August 7th meeting. See attachment number 2. We have a motion and a second to approve. Any other discussion? Shane's going to get caught up here. Any discussion? Seeing none, please cast your ballots.
Motion carried, 8 ayes and 0 nays.
There were no items under number 12, items for new business at the October 15th council meeting. Item 13, any referral of communication to committees? Okay. Item 14, which is dispensed of already, so we don't have that item on our agenda. And if there's nothing further, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion and a second. Any further discussion? None. All in favor? Opposed? We stand adjourned. Thank you for your attention this evening and for being here.